are listening Laugh Out Loud with Dave and JJ.
No, it's JJ now.
How are you?
I'm doing okay. I power washed decks for like 5 hours today and didn't realize it. I was having so much fun.
Oh, the whole new color?
It does. Problem
Yeah,
is, that was only 2 decks. There's still 1 deck, 2 deck, garage, under the house, the back deck with the pool, and the back fence. So I'm about 20% done.
Well, you're getting there.
Yeah. How far did you ride this weekend?
I rode just under 250 kilometers, so probably about 100 and...
Wait a second.
I think it's about 170 miles.
Okay, there you go. We don't care about kilometers.
Yeah.
Or Deutschmarks, or pounds.
Or Deutschmarks, or pounds, yeah. Yeah, I think it's about 100, between, I'm guessing between 160 and 170 miles.
There you go.
Yeah.
Welcome to America.
Yeah, it was a good weekend. It was, the weather was very hot, very humid. 2.5 hour drive north from my house by car. We got up Saturday morning and started our trek home, and after about, it was about just over 5 hours, we completed probably about just under 100 miles.
You drove 2.5 hours to turn around and ride back?
Yeah.
Would it have been easier to like ride halfway and stop and turn and come back?
No, because the elevation change. The problem is where we're leaving for the Ride to Conquer Cancer on June 12th and 13th. We leave from Toronto, and we'll actually head north of the city to a town called Georgetown on our way to Niagara Falls, but it's a very long way around. And the elevation changes are quite severe heading through Georgetown and what they call the Halton Hills region, and they call it Halton Hills for a reason. So we wanted to somewhat replicate that, try to anyway, kind of like when you test. So I was grateful and glad to get home Sunday afternoon, and I was very exhausted. I can only imagine what in 8 days what I'm going to be going through. So it was very hot and very humid. So I'm very pleased with the outcome, and I can tell you, even though how sore I was and how tired I was Sunday afternoon when I got off the bike, it doesn't even compare to the pain that I'm sure that people go through that are fighting this terrible disease. So I'm truly more pumped now to do that 200 miles than I probably was before. So I guess you had a little bit of an issue as well, running that long of a race. But I must say, before I forget, congrats. 42 in owner points. You guys are locked in the Pocono if it should rain. Your plan worked out well, so you guys ran really well.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. I mean, considering we never had a set of stickers for the entire race. We didn't even start on stickers. So, and it showed in practice that, putting on a new set of tires was really only good for about 5 laps. But, they were good for 2 to 3 tenths easy for your fast lap. And we were a little bit too free. But, from like lap 25 on to when we'd have to pit, the car was really, really good. And we could actually run top 15 speeds pretty easy and pretty consistently. But, it was never really the intention of having to run the entire race. The goal was to, obviously do what we did. We knew what we needed to do to get points to at least lock ourselves into 43rd. We know that anytime you go to Pocono, weather's an issue. We'd already checked the 10-day before we ever started, knew that the weather was looking bad. And it was good. I mean, we got to run the whole race. It didn't, it was really nice. They had a bunch of guys, I guess, during the race, bring some tires down to the guys. Some different teams brought some, their qualifiers down, had 1 or 2 laps on them that, normally you have to go beg and steal for those, or some guys don't want to sell them to you. So it was nice that some teams were offering them up to the guys, and made it a little bit easier on Tony trying to figure out what he was going to do for the next time we needed to pit or whatever. So.
Well, that's very cool. I mean, when I was there in Karen, and as we sat there watching the introductions to the Open race, and how we could watch through the monitor, and how happy everybody seemed to be, and going out of their way to high five you, and it's true. People are glad to see you back. It was absolutely incredible, and
it was good. The next race that we're planning on running the entire race will be Michigan, so 2 races out. it showed us a couple spots that we needed to work on. Obviously we took the wave around twice, hoping for, not even a quick caution, but, something before we were going to have to pit, which we didn't catch that break. It cost, instead of gaining a lap, we ended up losing 2 laps each time.
Yeah.
And then, I got caught speeding once getting into pit road, which cost us. And then it was kind of a freak thing. When they dropped the jack, the key for the main power switch is to my right. And I don't know if it wasn't turned on all the way, but when they dropped the jack, I dumped the clutch and the thing just died. And they were trying to push start me, and I'm trying to crank it over, and it wasn't doing anything. I just assumed maybe the starter was burnt. And it was, they pulled me back, and they're looking around, and I noticed that my gauges were all dead. And flipped the key back on, fired right up, and it was like, we easily gave away 4 laps. Yeah, we completed 393 of the 400. So,
okay.
But you get the 4 laps back that you gave away. Now all of a sudden, I think we're a 28th or 29th place car, which all things considered, some of the teams we were running against would have been very, very respectable. Not that we were ashamed of what we got, but I made a couple errors, some just freak things that just didn't pan out our way. All those things add up in the end, but. The original game plan was we would run, just looking at past races, we were figuring between 200 and 250 laps. And for me physically, at 200 laps, I was stellar. I didn't even realize that we had already gone halfway, and even at 300 laps, I was still doing really, really good. And it was about lap 330 that it hit me, just the heat, the AC unit that they have. Obviously isn't the same as what some of the big teams have, and it works pretty good, but it doesn't blow real cold air, and it doesn't blow very hot, very heavy.
Mm-hmm.
So, the last 100 laps, I actually ran with my visor open, trying to get a little bit extra air to my face, but at the same time, you're getting a lot of fumes.
Yeah.
Cautions for me were murder, just because of the fumes being around the cars. And the last 20 laps, it really took a lot of focus to keep from getting ill and focusing on the line, and just a little bit of fatigue and the sick port was getting.
Yeah. Well, this weekend's Pocono, so what's the plan?
The plan for this week is much the same as it was for Dover and Darlington, unless something changes the next day or two. We'll go and run. I know that the car that we're taking to Pocono is the same car that we raced at Dover and Darlington.
Mm-hmm.
The engine that's in it is an engine that I have not run. I know Tony worked real hard on trying to find the right power and torque combination for what you get at Pocono. You spend a lot of time at Pocono in the mid-range of your RPMs, and he's pretty confident that we're going to have a really good piece. So I want to go and qualify, and obviously this was Pocono's a super fun racetrack. It takes, one little mistake can definitely cost you at a place like that. But, I'd rather go and get the chance to qualify and maybe put the thing in the, we've already been in the top 25, maybe stick the thing in the top 20 or even the top 15 and continue to impress people with what we're doing with a small team.
Very limited resources, of course, eh? You have managed to, to break the 1,000 followers on Twitter.
Now I only need
89,000 more?
No,
How many more?
89,000.
89,000. Oh, you want 90,000?
I want 90,000.
Okay.
I mean, if Buzz Aldrin can have like 1 million followers, now of course I don't know when he started because he's obviously a lot older than I am.
King of the Twitters.
King of the Twitter.
I have to ask you a question that someone had emailed me. Dave Sharp, who is a fan club member and been one for a very long time, and
Bean?
I was trying to call him when I was in. What's that?
You said bean? What's bean?
Bean. Bean? You know the word bean?
Oh, no, bean. You're saying bean like B-E-A-N, like I just had for dinner.
No, I'm saying bean like B-E-E-N. The Canadian bean?
Okay, I gotcha.
Anyway,
never mind.
He's been in your fan club for a long time, and he's badly wanted to be the phone-in guy tonight, but unfortunately works. But because it was his 40th birthday, his wife had bought him this ticket. He's fascinated with tornadoes, so she bought him this ticket to go down in the Southwest and chase tornadoes for 2 weeks. So
wow.
So he sends me this email, and he says that got me thinking. You can ask JJ this too. People I work with think it's a bit nuts that I chase F4 tornadoes, but is that more dangerous than putting Kyle Busch in the wall?
Is it more dangerous to chase an F4
Chasing a tornado than putting Kyle Busch in the wall?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'd have no problem messing with Kyle Busch. F4 tornado, look out. I don't want to see it. Don't want to be nowhere near it.
But he does want to say hi, and thanks again. Keep doing what you're doing. He's a huge fan. Not
well, I think Dave
Jason
is Dave is he's a crazy man.